So,
Okay. Yeah,
you ready
okay.
to start?
Yeah.
Okay, so it's 2:37. Okay, hey, Michelle.
Oh, yeah.
Everything's all set? You don't want to watch it for just a few minutes or
Okay.
to be sure that it's...
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
recording right now, but
Yeah.
okay.
Well, you're gonna have these senior moments. That's why you have to
Yeah.
keep an eye on them.
Okay. Okay, let's begin. Can you state your full name, where you were born, who your parents were, and where your parents came from, and where were you born? Okay, so let's start with your
Okay.
name, full name.
Takeshi Kawakami. I was born in Redondo Beach, California, in 1931, and moved to Bassett in 1938. No, 37. So
Okay, and then who were your parents?
my parents is the mother is see, they're right on tip of my tongue there.
And your father?
Takema, and
Where are they
Chi.
from in Japan?
Hiroshima.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, so where were you born?
Redondo Beach,
Okay.
California. 1931 there, long time ago.
Okay, so then you were going to grammar school when you came to Bassett.
I started grammar school in Bassett.
Oh, okay.
It used to be a gray, one building, square building, wood building,
The Bassett Grammar School.
Bassett Grammar School.
You remember what street you lived on?
Peonte Avenue, close to Torch Street.
Right. And so
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Bassett Grammar School was close by.
Vine and Roland, I think it was.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, kind of remember those things.
Okay, so you what 1938?
I think at 37 or 30, I was pretty young when they moved over to Bassett.
Okay. What was your father doing?
He's a farmer on Peonte Avenue,
What kind of farming?
truck farming, vegetable.
Vegetable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so you started to go to Bassett Grammar School.
Yeah, I started, went through elementary to 4th grade or something,
Uh-huh.
but I still remember.
Yeah. You remember what the ethnic makeup of that school was? Was there a lot of Japanese, Mexican, white kids? What was the
Mixture. Ratio, I would say, it's a good portion probably was Mexican. I'm just guessing. Maybe half, let me rephrase that. I think half was Caucasian or white, and the other quarter was Mexican or Hispanic. Then the remainder were all different races. There weren't too many Japanese kids there.
Oh. You have any grammar school class photos?
I don't think so.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
because in that reunion, they had some. When the West Covina had that reunion, they had some photos of classes, grammar school kids in that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah. So your older brother Nob was
Yeah.
my classmate.
Right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you remember of pre-war days in Bassett?
Pre-war days, it was all farmland, so in order to play or communicate with other people. You learn to ride bicycle to go to Bassett Grammar School to play in the playground there. But there was a lot of Japanese kids, Takeshis, they were about the same age. The Koshas, they all lived close by Miyakawas.
Right.
And
Around where your family farmed, there were a lot of Japanese, weren't there?
well, our next door neighbor was Okada Sat's cousin.
Right,
And across the street there was Miyakawas.
right. And there were other farmers in that area.
They're all farmers.
Yeah.
They're small farmers like
Kosha.
Kosha's there, then Yamashita's further down,
Yeah.
the Wakinos.
Yeah. What about Yabutas?
Yeah, that name, I heard it, but it doesn't ring a bell.
Oh, okay. She
Yeah,
was my
yeah.
classmate.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So before the war, you used to play around with the white kids and all the and the Mexicans, and
Well, I mostly played with the Mexican.
so you got along pretty well.
Well, in those days, I spoke Spanish more than I spoke Japanese.
Oh.
Because their family, I still remember going to their house. They're farm laborers, but go to their house and they have a stack of tortillas and a pot of beans on a wood burning stove.
Oh.
And you put the tortilla to warm it up and you throw the beans in it. That was the snack.
Oh.
I still remember that.
Oh.
Yeah.
And so in the Bassett area, people of various races, they got along pretty well.
Yeah, there's that. I remember Italian families. There was a few of those, but what stands out more than anything else is the Mexican families,
Oh. Yeah.
because they always invite you over for. In those days nobody had money, huh?
Uh-huh.
To have a tortilla with beans in there, that was a treat.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so in 1941, December, Japan attacks Pearl Harbor.
Right.
You remember December 7, 1941?
Well, I don't remember December 7, but I remember them putting up posters restricting the Japanese from moving around.
Oh.
Yeah.
What grade were you in at that time?
I think the fourth grade.
Fourth grade?
Fourth grade, I think. Somewhere.
Okay. So after the war started, you remember any bad treatment from other people because you're Japanese?
Well, I think I was too young for that part. They might have said bad things, but either he didn't understand or
Right.
he just ignored it.
Uh-huh.
But
Okay, so then notices went up on telephone poles and
Right, yeah.
on building that we were going to be sent to camp.
right.
You remember how did your family prepare to go to the camp?
Well, like every other family, it was a real hardship because you had to get rid of all the belongings or store the belonging that you had.
Uh-huh.
Because all the equipment and things, it's a total loss.
Right.
You
You remember that day, it was May 15, 1942. We of all the Bassett area, we had to report to Covina Park. You remember that day?
I remember going to some collecting area with our what little belonging we could carry to go to Pomona, the center.
Right.
That's where we went, Pomona.
You remember anything about going to Covina Park and what you did there?
Well, I remember collecting some area, but I didn't know what the name was. You know.
Yeah. Okay, then so I was in that same group.
You're right.
So we were all sent to the LA County Fairgrounds in Pomona.
Yeah,
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah. Okay, so what do you remember about the Pomona camp?
Well, the first thing you remember is you was required to put straw in a blanket. That was your mattress. I still remember that. Everybody has to go collect their own straw, put it in there to make a bed.
Yeah. You remember what kind of room you had?
It's just a barrack.
Yeah. What about the eating facility? You remember where you went to eat?
I know we went to eat someplace, but
There was a place called Mess Hall.
yeah, mess hall. Yeah,
Right. And so you remember, there was hundreds of people lined up, a long line.
well, I never seen so many Japanese in one place in my life.
You remember seeing armed guards? And,
Yeah, they're posted outside the fence line there.
Uh-huh.
Yeah,
You remember any searchlights at night?
no,
Yeah.
no,
What did you do at the camp?
play.
Yeah. That's all we did, huh?
Yeah, because in a sense, I never had so many young kids or same age kids that you could play with.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, my age, I was 12,
Yeah.
they put us on a softball team, and so we
Really?
played other teams. Did you get to do anything
No.
like that?
No.
Yeah. You remember going to any school,
No.
grammar school for young kids? Yeah. You remember, like we used to have those talent shows every week.
I don't remember that either.
Oh. Yeah, we used to have weekly talent show. All the
Yeah,
talent in the
yeah.
camp, they used to put on a show, and that was really interesting.
I don't think I ever went to one.
Oh,
Yeah. I probably would have remembered if I did.
okay.
Yeah.
What other things do you remember of Pomona?
Well, it was a short stay. The only thing I remember is that short stay we had there. Then the train ride we had from Pomona to Heart Mountain.
Yeah.
And they required all the windows shutter to be pulled down so you can't see outside.
Right.
I remember that.
Yeah, and so that was August of 1942.
I don't know what date.
Yeah. Okay, at Pomona, you remember if you watched the game that Tosha Sano used to play in?
I started to watch Toast when I was in Heart Mountain because he was the neighbor.
Yeah,
But then Pomona, I didn't even know him.
yeah. Okay, so in August of 1942, your family was moved to Heart Mountain, Wyoming.
Right.
Okay, what block did you live in?
Block 1.
Okay.
124E.
Yeah. Did Satoshi Okada live around there?
Yeah, he lived in like 120C.
Oh, so just a couple of barracks over. Yeah. Okay, so
Then Asano was across the way in like 15.
oh, yeah. So Tosh became a big baseball star in the
Football.
camp. Yeah, football.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Okay, so what do you remember about when you first went to Heart Mountain?
Well, when it first went there, it had a dust storm because they just built that camp. When you had a dust storm, you go inside the barrack, the sheet will be all brown because the wall, the floor, the dust will come up and lay on the dust will lay on the bed.
Right. It was because all that ground was just loose ground.
Right.
They removed the sagebrush and it was just all loose, like sand at that
So
time.
when the wind started blowing, you couldn't even see. It was so bad.
Right.
You know.
Okay. What do you remember about when you first got to Heart Mountain?
Thing that comes to my mind is Sat and I went to Shoshone River.
When was this?
This is the early part of their camp. They had the guards still up there in the tower,
Yeah.
and we lived in Block 1, and all the construction for the barracks were just past the barrack area. And there used to be a ditch that went underneath the fence to the creek.
Yeah.
We had to crawl that ditch so they won't see us till we got to the creek. Then we walk across the highway over there. Then you pass that, and there's a tube that you go underneath because above was a canal.
Oh. Did the guard see you?
No, that's right.
And so you were actually sneaking out of the camp.
Yeah.
You ever thought of going to Cody or Powell or anything?
Later on we did.
Oh.
Went to Powell. That was that Remington busway. There was a bus that went through. It stopped at Heart Mountain. You could buy a pass to go to Cody or to Powell, and we did that.
Oh. But at the beginning.
Not at the beginning. When they removed the guards, then they are allowed to go to Cody.
But at the beginning, you weren't supposed to go outside the camp.
I know, but we went out anyway.
Yeah. You know, some kids were caught. You know,
Wow.
it was in the newspaper.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so, okay, so what'd you do down the river?
Well, you're exploring. You know, there's a river going right through Heart Mountain.
Yeah. Did you see other kids down there?
No one.
Oh. So you were pretty lucky you weren't caught, you know. But later on, you were allowed to go down.
Yeah.
Later on. Yeah. Okay, so the guards were actually up in the
Guard tower.
guard tower. Right.
This is when we first went there.
Oh. Yeah. Okay, so what else were you and Sat doing out there?
Well, getting into trouble.
Doing what?
Well, there's a lot of things that we shouldn't have been doing. We were doing it.
Oh. What, for instance?
Well, we'll leave it at that.
Were you fighting with other boys?
Yeah, mixed it up, I think,
Oh.
several times because there are people from Los Angeles area.
Yeah. And so there was a difference between
Yeah.
the Los Angeles city people and the country people.
Yeah,
Right. I mean, there was a difference.
yeah.
Yeah. So you get into fights with the city people?
Well, I don't know if they're city people, but being a youngster,
So
It
being like, you know, you and Sat being a couple of rough country kids, I bet you were getting into fights with the other kids.
not all the time. It's just we're good boys.
Yeah. How old were you when you first got there?
What, 8 or something like that?
Uh,
I'm just guessing.
yeah. Okay.
Very sure.
So, and after you got to Heart Mountain, soon after the school started, right?
The what?
The schools, grammar school.
Yeah. Yeah, the elementary school was in block 6, I think.
Oh.
The upper block 6, they had one barrack for school.
What did you think about the schools?
I don't know.
Oh. What kind of teacher did you have? White teachers or
No,
Japanese?
I think they were Japanese.
Oh.
Until we went to block 7.
Oh.
They had, next grade over us. It was in block 7. Then we went to high school after that.
Yeah, it was a brand new high school.
Yeah.
What grade were you in your last year?
I think 8th grade.
Oh.
I'm just guessing.
Okay, right. Okay, so what did you and Seth used to do, while you were there at Heart Mountain?
Well, I did a lot of things I think we shouldn't have been doing.
Oh,
Yeah,
so
yeah.
you were one of the so-called bad boys,
Not bad. It's just
getting into all kinds of trouble,
exploring.
exploring.
Yeah.
Right. That's a good word.
Yeah.
Right. And you and Seth used to go around to other blocks to
Yeah.
look around.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, that's what a lot of kids were doing. It was
Yeah.
a big adventure.
Well, you never seen so many people in one place at one time.
Right. And so,
Yeah.
how do you think of your time at the camp?
Well, it's more play than anything else, huh?
Right. How long did your family stay there?
Well, we came out in 1945, I think it was. July of 45.
Oh, when the camp was set to close and
Yeah,
people had
right.
to leave the camp.
Right,
Right.
yeah.
What was your father doing for work in the camp?
He went to Yellowstone as a cook.
Okay, but that's not full time. He went there
Yeah,
for a short while.
Yeah, summertime.
Yeah. What was he doing other times?
I don't know.
Oh. What was your mother doing?
I really don't know.
Oh, just like most
Yeah.
women, they didn't do anything. Yeah.
I think my mother made a lot of clothes, a shirt,
Oh.
because I don't know, in those days, if I recall, the rice came in a colorful sack,
Yeah.
and they cut it up and make shirt out of it
Where? At the camp?
at the camp there.
I've seen photos
Yeah,
of people wearing, the
Yeah.
clothes made out of these rice
the rice
sacks.
sack.
But
Yeah.
you're the first person that I've heard, talk about it.
Well, I think I wore it.
You wore it.
Yeah,
Okay, so from these rice sacks.
yeah, the rice sack.
Okay, how many pounds was in the rice sack?
I don't know. They're probably 50-pound sack on
Probably 100 pounds.
100 pounds. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh. And okay, so you had a sister,
Yeah.
Betty, and maybe your mother made some dress for her.
I'm sure she did.
Oh. Okay, you recall anything like that with other kind of material? Like, okay, so we had these 100-pound rice sacks. The white people used to buy flour, in 100-pound bag, and they used that cloth bag
Yeah.
to make clothes. You remember anything else like that where, people used, for clothing or for furnitures or anything like that?
The neighbors that used to get these mesquite wood.
Mesquite wood?
Well, the bushes,
Oh, the sagebrush.
sagebrush, that big one, they make chairs out of it.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, bench, you know,
Oh.
so you could sit outside.
Uh-huh.
I kind of remember that making things.
Oh.
Because when you don't have anything, people get kind of creative
Right.
in
Right.
doing things.
Yeah. So, okay, so your father lost everything when he went into camp?
I'm sure he lost most of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I guess some families, they were well off in the camp because I guess they had money. But I guess there
Yeah.
were some family who didn't have anything.
Well, I think we're one of those that didn't have anything.
Uh-huh. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, okay, you said you met Tosha Sano there.
Yeah.
Right. You used to go watch the adults play sports?
I think I went several times. He said he's going to go play.
Uh-huh.
So went out there to watch him. Yeah.
Yeah. What kind of sports?
This was football he was playing.
Oh.
Yeah, I still kind of remember that.
You remember him playing softball?
Well, he was a pretty good softball pitcher.
Right. He was
Yeah,
one
yeah,
of the best in the
yeah.
camp. Yeah. Well, he was one of the best all around sports athlete in the camp. Yeah. Okay, so your oldest brother is Tom.
Yeah, he went to Chicago
Okay, so he was old enough.
to go out of camp.
He graduated high school, so
Yeah,
he went to Chicago to work on the outside.
Yeah.
Okay, so then your next brother is Nob.
He went the summertime. He went out to Montana,
To do what?
pick sugar beets and things.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah, he was underage, but he told me he's old enough, and they took him.
Oh, okay, because he's a little bit taller.
Yeah,
But, Nob and I are same age,
Yeah,
but he's
but,
a little
yeah,
bit taller, so he could lie about his age.
yeah,
Yeah.
because they go out there pick sugar beets or
During the summertime.
yeah in the summertime. Yeah.
Oh. Okay, so then you had a sister named Betty.
Betty, yeah.
Was she younger or older than you?
No, younger.
Younger.
So
Yeah. Okay, so your family spent 3 years,
yeah, 3 years in camp.
1942, and then in the summer of 1945,
45.
the camp was closing
Yeah.
up. Okay, so what happened?
Well, my father and Nob, they went out first to California, back here,
Back here in Bassett.
Bassett. He came back to Bassett, and they found a place to live, a shack, but they worked on a farm.
Uh-huh.
That's how they got started.
Uh-huh. And your mother and you and Betty were in the camp.
Yeah,
Okay, so after your father and Nob got settled down, and
and we came out.
then the rest of the family went out to Bassett.
And they brought 2 other families.
Oh,
Our next door neighbor.
who were they?
You remember Bob Kitahara?
Oh yeah.
He lived right across from me.
Oh,
They brought that family out. They didn't know where to go, so they brought them, and they brought Hidaka.
I don't know them.
Wow, they're right next door neighbor to Sat
In camp.
in camp.
Oh,
So they brought that family out.
yeah. What was your father doing?
Well, he's the laborer, farmer.
Laborer.
Yeah.
What was the Kitahara family doing?
Well, they all come out as labor working on the farm.
Oh. Okay, where was Tom?
Tom went in the military after Chicago. He went to Germany.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
So how was life after you got out of camp? You have a rough time then at that time?
Well, being a youngster, you accept what it is.
Uh-huh.
You know, you're not old enough to realize that this is really bad situation, but
Uh-huh.
you just accepted what it was.
Right. Right.
So,
What school did you go to?
Bassett Elementary School, yeah.
Did you run into some of the school kids you knew before the war?
Yeah, the one in particular was Charlie Forgy. Charles, he came to the reunion once.
Oh.
Yeah, he was in the same grade I was in.
Oh. And so, how was your treatment right after camp from the other races?
Well, being a youngster, I don't think that.
Right.
Yeah,
At that age,
no.
they
It's
don't
not
think
that.
about race discrimination or
Right.
anything like that. Right.
Yeah,
And so you went to Bassett Grammar School,
yeah. Then I went to El Monte High School.
Almonte High School.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
It's kind of far to go to Almonte, wasn't
Well,
it?
the bus comes out there, picks you up.
Oh. Okay.
Because there was that San Gabriel creek, a river there, and the bus pick up half of that area went to El Monte, the other half went to Peony, then another quarter or so went to Covina High School. Like my brother went to Covina High School. No.
No? Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. And okay, so what did your family do? Okay, your father worked as a laborer.
Yeah, so when he got established, the Kiraharas, they moved to Prianti. The Hidaka moved to San Jose, and our family moved into the rental house and started gardening.
Oh.
That's when we started gardening.
And then Tom came home.
Yeah, he came home. He went to college. When he finished,
Okay, what did you do? Okay, you went
Yeah.
to Bassett, then you
Yeah,
went to
Almonte,
Almonte High School. Then after you got out of high school, what year did you graduate Almonte?
1950.
Oh.
Then I went to Mount San Antonio College over there in Walnut. You remember that?
Yeah, I went there.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, what'd you take up there?
Well, I didn't know what to take up, but I took up regular classes at that time. Then after the first year, I decided this is not going to work out for me because I didn't know what to do. So I moved to Los Angeles. I went to a trade tech school in Los Angeles. Took up machining.
Okay, so you graduated there?
I graduated, started working, but I didn't like that.
So what'd you do next?
Well, I came back to the family. They're gardening. So I started the gardening for a little while. Then I didn't want to do that either.
Yeah.
So I went back to electronics school.
Yeah.
Then after electronics school, I went to work for North American out of Netics.
Oh, what'd you do there?
The electronics, they build boards for Minuteman missile.
Oh.
I worked on those circuitries,
Oh.
but I kind of didn't like that either. But I transferred in that company to a research center. Autonetic had a research center. Then they gave me a job because I had the electronic background. They want somebody with an electronic background, mechanical, to work on these projects to put it together. And I kind of enjoyed that.
So how long did you do that?
I did that about 5 years.
What'd you do next?
I transferred. I quit. Went to work for TRW
Where?
at Redondo Beach. They had a they're starting up a semiconductor. And I was kind of involved when I was in that research center doing that kind of thing. That's what I put these equipment together. Because in those days, if you want to test something, you couldn't buy it. You had to build something to be able to test it, or you had to build something to be able to make something to test it.
Oh, that's electronic.
Yeah, electronic and mechanical. That's how I got involved in vacuum processing, where you deposit thin film material onto thing and make it work. And I even worked on lasers. This is back in the 60s, worked on lasers.
So how long did you do this now?
Yeah, I did that till 1968. Then the fella I'm working with, he said he's gonna go up to San Jose area, and they're gonna start a company. And he's telling me all these good things, but they're gonna start this company. You wanna come up there? I said, what do I wanna go up there? I don't know anybody.
So,
Then I thought it a little bit, and I said, they want to interview me. And I says, could I come up there on Friday morning, fly up there and rent a car. I want to leave Monday coming back because my brother lived in Oakland. That's the only reason I decided, wow, that's a good chance to go visit them. So they said, wow, that sounds good. So they accepted that, and I came up, interviewed with them. They said, you want to start work? Because they didn't have a company. They had to build a plant. They needed somebody to lay out the facility, order the equipment, that kind of stuff. But I came up here, I wanted to go visit my brother. So I come over here and I interviewed them, had lunch. After lunch, I had a rented car, went to Oakland, and stayed there Saturday, Sunday, then I flew back Monday. That's how I moved up there.
oh, okay, so you accepted their offer
Yeah.
to work for them.
But that was, by then, it was 1969 when I moved up to San Jose.
So what'd you do up there?
Well, I was in a vacuum and that kind of thing, but they had to build this company. They didn't have a building, and they wanted me to go inspect how they laid the thing out, make sure everything was in the right order. Then when the building came together, the plumbing, they wanted to make sure all the gas line and things like that was in the right place, and the power requirement was there. I was doing that kind of thing. Then once the building started, then they had bring in the equipment to do the process. So I still remember in those days, you used to go out to lunch every day with some salesman trying to sell you some equipment and thing. And that's how I got started up there.
And so you've been with this company?
I was with them about 5 years or so, 6 years. Then I went to work for National.
Oh. And so that's how you went up to Northern California?
Yeah. This startup company, fortunately, I was kind of lucky because I didn't know too much about stock. They offered stock. We started in those days. That sounds good.
Yeah.
Then I went to National, and the people knew what kind of work I did. And they offered me that. Went to AMD.
When you say National, what's the full name of that company?
National Semiconductor.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're in Silicon Valley.
Silicon Valley there.
Right.
So that's my time I spent up there working at these different companies, because at that time you start to realize that if you're on the ground floor, you have a better chance of succeeding than just working at one place all the time.
Oh.
That's why I moved around.
Oh, okay, so then you went to National.
Yeah.
You stayed there?
About 5-6 years, yeah.
What was the name of the next place?
Next place I went, this company, AMD, hired me because I knew a process that they wanted. So I went to work for them, but the lawsuits, that's where I got involved into lawsuits and the thing. They won't let me work until they resolve the lawsuit. So about a year, I used to go to work, I had an office, I used to go have breakfast, come back to the library, was next door to the office, and that's what I would do, just read all day long. I didn't do it.
Until the lawsuit was settled.
They never settled. So I decided this isn't good, so I left.
Oh.
Then I went into a company, a startup company that made thin film heads for disk drives. So I went and did that, and I was involved in a lawsuit there because the people that started this company all worked for IBM.
Lawsuit because maybe stealing ideas from another company?
Yeah, in those days, those things went on quite a bit.
Oh.
These people from IBM started this company, and they wanted me to join them. And I told them that you're going to get sued by IBM. He said, don't worry about that, but I went to work there anyway. And it lasted there about 5 years, and they closed the plant down. That's how big IBM is. This company was doing real good, and they said it's impossible for a small company to do this well without stealing ideas. So I went to another company that did the same thing. And they started up pretty good, and we sold it to Comag, the thin film head disc company, sold the company to that. So it ended up doing all right.
Okay, so you kept on working at various companies
Right.
until when did you finally retire?
I retired in. It's been about 20 years since when I retired. I think it's like 2006. Yeah. No. 15 years.
Around 2000 or so.
Yeah.
So that, that's 16 years.
Yeah, 16 years I retired.
Oh. What kind, the work that you did, how would you describe it so that ordinary people can understand, what you did? When you talk about this electronic, it's hard for me or for anyone else to fully understand what you really did.
Well, the thing is that in the electronics, everything required to get smaller and smaller and smaller. With the naked eye, you could hardly see anything. You had to look through a high-powered microscope to see a pattern. And that pattern, if you put current through it, it did certain function that made it possible to do these things. And that's kind of stuff we built.
Right. It's just like computers.
Yeah, computers.
They used to have computers that big as this whole room.
That's right.
And now it's getting smaller and smaller.
Because the chip size like this, or you used to have one room full of electronic tube to do the function of something this small.
Right.
And that was the whole thing. Everything got smaller and smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
And
how would you sum up your life? All the various places you worked at.
To me, life, you accept what it is. But I was more fortunate than a lot of people.
Well, I think you were lucky that your
lucky.
job was in demand.
Well, I was lucky to be at that point at that time.
Right. Where your knowledge was in demand.
Well, nowadays they have huge companies do the same thing.
What kind of company?
These material companies to build equipment to do these kind of things.
Oh.
When I started up there, that we have to figure out ourselves what do we want to do and how we're going to do it. Then you go tell the manufacturers, this is what I want built. And that's how those companies got big. If I was smart enough, I would have started the company myself. But the thing is, not knowing business. Because all those ideas at that time, they're obsolete now, but at that time, nobody had it.
Okay, so you did quite well. Just a farm kid.
Yeah. I think I say I was at the right place at the right time.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much, Pat Kawakami.
Yeah.
Right. Okay, we'll call it an end to this. You have to go visit your brother yet. You're on a short trip from up north, so you got a lot of visiting to do yet. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Tack.
Okay.
Okay, so now, when you go see Tom, give him that book.
Okay.
Okay, so now, okay.
She got to come and operate the thing. Huh?
Yeah. I'll go call her right now.
So this Susan Kawakami, that's the
Oh, okay, give this book to Tom.
yeah, I give it to Tom, but
Yeah.
that the grandparents is he